Hey guys, Harley Q here with another video. So today's kind of an interesting topic because I've been asked by several people if I'm getting newer gen systems, and it kind of set a little discussion in my head as to why I haven't gotten newer gen systems, at least at release date. So there are many reasons why I typically don't buy game systems at release dates. There are a lot of issues, especially with first day launches. Whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, even Nintendo Switch, there's always been some kind of an issue, and you can make that argument with about anything on launch day. However, sometimes when it comes to hardware, it's much more different rather than buying a game. For instance, if a game is really bad at launch, typically there's going to be a patch to fix those problems. If you have bad hardware, there isn't necessarily a patch that's going to fix that. For some problems there is, but other problems there's not. That's one of the main reasons why I typically don't buy first-gen systems. I have bought first-gen systems that are used, as in I already know they work. I believe my PlayStation 4 is a first-gen PlayStation 4. However, it was tested, so I know that it works. I know there's no issues with it. But I know that there were some issues with first-gen PlayStation 4s, etc., etc. What really set me off and to stop buying first-gen systems, at least when they first come out, was definitely what happened with the Xbox 360, specifically the Red Ring of Death. Obviously, I don't really need to explain that, but for those who don't know, there was an issue with the... There's a dog coming. So for those of you who don't know, the Red Ring of Death, there was basically a hardware malfunction that basically killed your 360. And you'd get, obviously, a red ring. I don't know the whole technical specs behind exactly what happened. I did actually have it happen to me. I did have my Xbox refurbished. I actually ended up buying a new one. And it's funny because I didn't even buy the Xbox 360 when it first came out. I just happened, when I purchased it, it happened to be a first-gen one, which had the issue with the Red Ring of Death. So yeah, I had the Red Ring of Death happen to me. It was probably the worst thing that happened to me, and I got the next generation of the Xbox, and that obviously fixed the whole issue. But I did have the one refurbished, so then I had two Xboxes. It's a whole thing. A lot of the reason why I typically don't buy systems when they first come out is because companies know, for the most part at least, they know that people can't afford to spend $500 at once. Especially game companies, they know. So what they'll do is they'll release a game for the last gen, and they'll release it for the new gen. They'll obviously have some systems for launch date just to entice people to buy the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox, whatever the actual name for the Xbox is, I don't actually even know. But they entice people by doing this. So PlayStation is typically known for this. I know that there is a whole timed exclusive with stuff, but I mean, if you think about it, almost all games are timed exclusives. You're not gonna go into a store and find a Xbox 360 game in Target. I mean, on rare occasions you will, but generally you won't. At least not now. So it's really interesting to think about launch dates and stuff, because as somebody who reviews games and talks about games and obviously streams games, these are things that a lot of people tend to ask you is, why aren't you playing the newest systems? Why aren't you playing on the PlayStation 5? Why aren't you playing on the newest Xbox? It's just because I just don't really see the point in necessarily dropping that much money right away. I obviously will get the systems. I will probably end up getting the Xbox first for the backwards compatibility. That's actually really awesome to me. It makes testing games so much easier, especially with being a reseller. But that's more appealing to me. However, everyone seems to want to play the PlayStation 5, and that seems to be the hot system of the two. So I might actually end up getting the PlayStation 5. Actually, it's not even I might. I will get the PlayStation 5. It's just more of a matter of when. And I want the PlayStation 5 because, one, I love Sony. Sony has been a love of mine forever. I love all their systems. And probably the whole exclusives that tend to come out for PlayStation. However, you could make the argument that a lot of the PlayStations do eventually come to PC, just later. But, you know, there's some that actually never do. Like Until Dawn has never come to PC. I hope it doesn't, because it does at least make console gaming still kind of worth it to have exclusives, in my opinion. Although I love the whole, cross-platform thing. I think that's really cool. And just, being able to play games on multiple systems, or the system that you like the most, or the system that you can afford. I think that's kind of cool too. Another reason why I'm not in a rush to get one of the newer systems is because I have a really, really nice PC, and I stream off my PC. I do everything on my PC. I'm filming off my PC. I would rather have one system where I do generally everything on, one that I know is going to work, rather than 3 systems or 2 systems that might not work. But yeah, every single system has had some issue with launch, whether it's scalpers, which is a horrible thing, especially for PlayStation 5, where people can't even get their pre-orders, or you have people who bought stuff off of Amazon and got cat food. I don't know how that happened. You just have like so many issues when it comes to like pre-ordering and like trying to get the system, and then you have people who sit outside for days to get a system. And granted, I am a hardcore gamer myself too, but I will never sit outside in the cold just to get a system that on the day that it launches, I'm gonna have to spend at least 3 hours trying to update it and install everything that needs to be installed. I mean, that's just my opinion though, what do I know? I would like to do a review on them at some point. I like to at least do a comparison of which one that I prefer. For this generation, I played the Xbox One more than I played the PS4. However, I feel like I had more fun gaming experiences with my PlayStation 4 because I had those really in-depth story games. So, I mean, I'm talking like Spider-Man and Until Dawn and Detroit Become Human, and there was another one. But I had those really good story games that I was definitely really connected to. But then you could make the argument that I had a lot of fun times with my Xbox. It's where I started playing my multiplayer games. I was playing a lot of Overwatch on that before I switched to PC and things like that. So I noticed that a lot of people who want to do multiplayer tend to go to Xbox. That seems to be the party system, as opposed to PlayStation, which seems to be the single player. It's been like that for years, and it'll probably continue to be like that. Hardware-wise, from what I've seen, it's really not that huge of a difference. It's probably faster load times. Actually, I can tell you right now, it definitely is faster load times, which is convenient because they are SSDs, so there's no moving parts, which means that they load super fast. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know, there's some graphic boosts and things like that, which you expect, but they're not hugely, vastly different, and not huge jumps at technology like you would see with, say, like a PlayStation 1 to a PlayStation 2. You will see a difference between a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 5, but it's not going to be such a huge difference where you're in absolute awe. So, I mean, you can get into the whole discussion of just issues that happen in general. I know that there has been a lot of issues with PlayStation 5s deleting people's memory and just glitches and stuff like that with the PlayStation 5, and hopefully they can get that all fixed up. But I have always said with any kind of hardware, you typically would like to get second gens of stuff, because that's when they fix all the bugs that they've had issues with. They come up with sleeker designs, things that work better. There's not so much of that rush. And then, you don't have to worry about fighting for a system too. That's a whole nother thing, because the whole people charging $1,000 for PlayStation, and it just doesn't make sense when the retail price is $500. It doesn't seem worth it. It is interesting that these newer systems, some of them are coming without disk drives, which I think is pretty convenient for some people, especially for somebody who doesn't really like to buy physical media. Obviously I do, because I have so much of it. Generally for newer systems though, I am buying much more digital games. I don't know though. I don't know if I can make that full commitment to just digital, because I noticed with certain systems I like to have the physical copy of the game. My Nintendo Switch, I don't own very many digital games. I only own like 2 digital games for the Nintendo Switch. My Xbox, I own a bunch of digital games. Same thing with my PlayStation 4, but I do actually have the discs for a lot of my PS4 games, the ones that I really, really care about. So, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Is this the way that technology is moving, where eventually everything will be digital? Will physical media be gone? That's a whole other video right there we could definitely dive into at some point. I mean, I don't know what you think. Do you think that now is the time to be buying these new systems? I know that a lot of people are very tight on money and can't afford it. I am one of those people. but I definitely would not have bought it either way, whether I was tight on money or not, because I've had too many issues with buying first gen of anything and having it not work, or having an issue and just hardware malfunctions in general. And as I mentioned, I have a really powerful PC. It's probably not the strongest PC, but it's a pretty strong PC, and that's good enough for me. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. I mean, But yeah, that's pretty much the video. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to follow me on all of my social medias. And what do you feel about these new gen systems? What are your opinions? Make sure to leave a comment below, and let's have some discussions on what you think, and I will see you in the next one.